Welcome to another episode on our channel. This time I'm just trying to represent an explorer. I used Robert Pattison's head with this Van Dyke mustache and beard to represent an explorer and canoe paddles, that sort of thing. He's just relaxing, enjoying the sun, I guess, although it might be a little cold with the stocking cap up here. But I was thinking of the Lewis Clark expedition and did a little research on it. Meriweather Lewis and William Clark. Lewis was the captain and Clark was the second lieutenant. Lewis was formerly Thomas Jefferson's secretary and was sent by Thomas Jefferson on this expedition and included about 45 individuals altogether, to include enslaved slave that was owned by Clark, who went by the name of York. There were a lot of enlisted personnel in this convoy, so to speak, and also civilians. And interestingly enough, somebody by the name of Robert Patterson taught Lewis longitude and latitude. So that's why I have Robert Pattison here. It's just kind of a interesting thing I learned. But Lewis learned a lot of things about not just longitude, latitude, botany, and so forth, because some of the secondary things of this trip was to establish trade lines, to learn about botany, and so forth. But the main goal was to establish a route via waterways to the Pacific coast and kind of lay claim to some lands along the way, establish trade relationships with Native American tribes and so forth. And it took 2 years, 4 months, and I believe 10 days to make the entire trip. Along the way, they met Toussaint Charbonneau, French, not a French American, French Canadian fur trader, who is married to Sacagawea from the Shoshone tribe. She had been kidnapped 5 years previously via another tribe, I believe, and along the way, after she joined this expedition, they ran across a Shoshone tribe that wasn't too friendly at first, until she found out her brother was the chief of that tribe. So it was a great reunion. So it's just full of rich history. This I can't go through all the details of the expedition, but I just found it fascinating to read about things that took place during the expedition. They had lots of gunpowder weapons, and they even had an experimental air rifle that you could compress several times with air and shoot up to 20 shots without it creating a big bang or anything. It was pretty much silent. So that was kind of cool. Just a little piece of information that was interesting. Clark eventually adopted Toussaint's and Sacagawea's son, as well as eventually the daughter, to raise as his own. And at first, she was resistant to it, but then probably thought there might be more opportunities for her son. I think she died when he later adopted the daughter. So that was interesting. And Meriweather, Lewis, interesting in the sense that he struggled with depression over the years, and after the trip was over, the depression apparently worsened, and he tried to commit suicide a couple times. He was later found dead, gunshot wounds to the chest and to the head. Some people thought it was murder, but more historians actually think it was suicide. So it's just full of information that is very interesting to read. And I certainly I certainly believe that had to be a very frightening trip to make, but full of many wonders. And it was very important to the history of our nation in terms of establishing a passage to the West. And here we are in California, and yeah, it's just all very interesting. Anyway, so here is my representation of an explorer who's just relaxing. We will pause now and get him on a turn tray so you can see him from different angles. If you remember, I had a civilian figure of Robert Pattison, and the head sculpt wasn't quite on target. And this is the head sculpt. So I decided I would use it. It was actually a good head sculpt. It just didn't resemble Robert Pattison enough for my taste. So I decided I would add a Van Dyke mustache and beard and would use him eventually. And when I thought explorer today, I thought he would be a good choice. And then I read a lot about Lewis and Clark, and apparently somebody by the name of Robert Patterson taught Lewis all about longitude and latitude. So that was very interesting. Through no design of my own, that was just kind of an interesting coincidence. So let's kind of go side to side because there's not really much to see from the back. We'll just go all the way over here. And then over here. It's a little hard to move this with this heavy rock on there. But I wanted him in a inclined position, kind of relaxing. I think this achieves it. And representing a waterway, of course, you've got paddles. So it worked out very nicely. So we'll pause now and get some tighter close-ups of him. This shirt and this full cap, which has a tassel on the end, came from a Core Discovery 1/6 scale set. So I thought it appropriate to use these two pieces. So did the bag here and the flintlock pistol. The pants are actually French, but they're white, so they match. So, and I have World War II boots on them, but it works. The paddles actually come from that Core of Discovery package as well. So I think it works. We'll just kind of go side to side here. Yeah, he looks very distinguished. And I think does justice to this particular figure. Like I said before, the head sculpt isn't that bad. It's just that it didn't resemble Robert Pattison as much as I would have liked it to have done. So yeah, let's just go side to side. And you can see the tassel there. It's kind of cool that they put that at the end of the hat. And this side with the hair kind of flowing down. It's kind of cool. Now, the only thing I probably will do is where his shirt is fastened with a snap, just maybe put double-sided tape and cover that snap because I hate it when these things show. It kind of takes away from the realism. But anyway, I think he makes a very distinguished explorer, and the shirt and the hat came from the Core Discovery set. So, as well as the flintlock pistol and the bag. So I think this works. I found out something else kind of interesting about Lewis, or Meriweather Lewis, that at one time he was actually literally court-martialed and transferred to a different unit because he got into a drunken fight with a lieutenant and challenged him to a duel. And when he was transferred, he was under the command of William Clark. That's how they met. But somehow, over the course of time, he rose in rank to outrank Clark. And but it appears that they were on very friendly terms because they made this trip together. I think Lewis asked him to join the group of men, and he did do some. Anyway, I thought that was just interesting. My husband was questioning the gunshots to the chest and the wound for Meriweather Lewis, but if you think about it, if he started with the chest and he's in tremendous pain and he is still alive, he may have, shot himself in the head. That logically can make sense. Regardless, historians do debate the issue, but most of them, I guess, lean on the side that it was suicide, given his 2 suicidal attempts previously. So, the real truth, I guess no one knows. But anyway, this represents an explorer, not necessarily Meriweather Lewis or William Clark, because they didn't have any facial hair. One was a captain, like I said, and one was a second lieutenant. So I hope you've liked what you've seen. If you have, consider giving us a thumbs up and subscribing to our channel. In the meantime, everyone, please have a great day.